You know, for years, businesses have pretty much been driving their ESG strategy while staring straight into the rearview mirror. But in a world that's constantly changing, that's just a recipe for disaster. So today, we're diving into a whole new approach, a risk-first ESG design that actually looks ahead to what's coming down the road. So there's this old idea, this unspoken rule in ESG that's been around forever. It's this assumption that, hey, if you can put together a nice report on your ESG metrics, you must have the actual risk under control. But what if that's a really, really dangerous assumption?
Right. And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? In a world where a supply chain can completely snap overnight, is a beautifully polished report from last quarter really going to be enough to keep you safe?
Yeah, the answer is a big, resounding no. That old way of thinking is completely crumbling under the weight of real-world pressures. Things like climate shocks, supply chain chaos, new regulations, they're all proving that risk just doesn't wait around for your annual report to come out.
Okay, so to really get where we're headed, we've got to first understand where we're coming from. Let's take a closer look at this legacy of reporting-first systems, what I'm calling the rearview mirror approach to ESG. So what is a reporting-first system? Well, think of it like a factory, but for data. Its entire job is to collect information from the past, package it up neatly, and churn out reports on a fixed schedule, quarterly or annually, for investors and regulators.
And if you look at the DNA of these old systems, a few things jump right out at you. They are, by design, backward-looking. Their main goal is just disclosure and compliance. And the data they use, it's historical, it's aggregated, and maybe worst of all, the whole process is just slow.
And here's the kicker, the real problem with all of this. By the time a critical issue finally shows up in one of those reports, the damage is already done. The system might have helped you check a compliance box, sure, but it completely failed to protect the business when it mattered. So, if this old way is so broken, what's forcing the change? Well, it's not just one thing. It's more like a perfect storm of three really powerful forces, and they're pushing us to a tipping point in how we think about ESG design. Okay, first up, you've got smarter regulations. These aren't just about ticking boxes anymore. They demand to see the real financial impact of ESG risks. Second, there's just a harsher reality we live in. Climate events and geopolitical shifts are hitting businesses right in the operations. And third, capital is getting wiser. Investors are looking past simple ESG scores to understand a company's true exposure to risk.
In all of this, it's pushing us towards a whole new way of thinking, designing for risk first. This isn't about building a dusty archive of old reports. It's about building an early warning system, a radar for your entire business.
Because with this new approach, the whole game changes. We stop asking that old compliance-driven question,
and instead, we start asking this question. What ESG events could materially affect us, and how would we know early? Now, this is the question that defines a risk-first approach. It's not about looking back. It is all about looking ahead, and it changes everything.
Okay, let's make this real. Take climate risk, for example. The old way, the reporting-first way, framed the problem as carbon accounting. The goal was just to prepare disclosures. But the new, risk-first way, it sees the problem as climate volatility, and the goal becomes protecting business continuity. It's a massive shift from accounting to action.
So how does it actually work? Well, it's all about plugging into a constant stream of real-time data signals. We're talking about things like overlaying your asset locations with flood risk maps, or tracking water scarcity in your key supplier regions, or monitoring heat stress thresholds along your shipping routes. These are the signals that actually matter to your operations, not just to your annual report.
So, where does this all lead? What's the future of ESG look like? Well, it's about making this huge pivot from ESG being a burden to it being a real strategic advantage. But of course, that journey comes with its own set of challenges.
Getting there means leaders have to grapple with a whole new set of trade-offs. You have to prioritize clear, decision-relevant info over some kind of analytical perfection. You have to get comfortable acting fast on early signals, even if they're not 100% perfect. And you have to finally break down those internal silos to get everyone working together. And dealing with those trade-offs, that requires a fundamental mindset shift. You have to understand that a system that surfaces risks early isn't creating more problems. It's simply making the invisible risks, the ones that were already there, hiding just under the surface, visible.
And that, right there, is the end game. That's the future we're moving towards.
ESG stops being this separate, parallel system. It gets truly embedded into the core architecture of the business, treated with the same seriousness as cyber risk or financial risk are today.
So I'll leave you with this question to think about for your own organization. Is your system built for yesterday's report or for tomorrow's risk? Because the answer to that question could very well be the difference between sinking and swimming in the years ahead.